What up, fam? It's your boy, Dan, a.k.a. the Broke Gary V. I don't know. You ever come up with stupid nicknames for yourself? Guess I'm the only one. Anyway, this episode is with Austin Vidrine. Austin is a good friend of mine and has been for a number of years now. Austin was really influential in the beginning of college for me and, establishing a friend group. And he's helped me out a whole lot. And I'm super out of focus. There we go. We had a lot of fun on this podcast. Talked a lot about how we started our friendship and in the beginning of college and swapped a couple stories there. And then we get into what Austin does now, which is selling. Basically, he's a medical salesperson, but he sells spine implements. And he's in the operating room a lot, and I found that to be really interesting. And if you know Austin, you would probably not assume that that's what he does. So, I mean that with the utmost respect, and I think Austin knows that as well. Towards the end, we started talking about Austin and Sarah's wedding this past weekend, plans after that, and we had a blast at the wedding. It was a great time. Maybe a little too much fun was had by myself and some others, but we're not going to get into that. I saw a lot of people, and it was great to get a lot of the gang back together from all sides of it. So, if you want to interact with this podcast, I think I can. You can send me a voice memo from your phone and email it to danmabryproject@gmail.com. I'll make sure to leave it in the bio down below. So, yeah, that's a good way for you to be a part of this, interact with the podcast and the rest of our listeners. Ideally, I'm going to use it for people that are promoting events and things like that. But, if you just want to leave a 30-second to a minute-long clip, just tell us who you are, where you're at, and, maybe leave an encouraging word or something like that. So, I hope to get some of those in, and you guys can lead off the podcast, and that's what the first thing that everybody will hear for that week. So, I guess that's really all I got this week. Much love to you and yours, and I don't know. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you. All right, one more thing. I know some people are going to think this is annoying, but look, this is an ad-free podcast. I make $0 off of this. I do this just for fun, and I'm not asking for you to give me money. If you want to, I do have a Patreon account, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking to get subscribers right now on YouTube. Once I get 1,000, I can start to put ads onto my podcast and make money that way through YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed, I would really appreciate that. It would only help me out, and it like I said, it costs you nothing monetarily. It's just one click. So, I really appreciate that. That would help me out a lot. And maybe I'll give you a sticker when I see you. So, thank you guys. Stories do come up. So things happen. All right. Here we are. Austin Vidrine. Welcome to the program.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me, Daniel.
Austin had. I wanted to lead off with this. A little story about how our relationship started, I guess. So, long story short, Will Roach had a party at his mom's house, and I lived down the street, and I walked down the street to the party, and there Austin Vidrine and Austin Etier were. And I think Zach was there too.
Yeah, it was So at that point in time, Will Roach called that house the Will Roach Frat Castle. And yeah, said
Bring it a little closer to you.
I can't really recall who was all there.
Yeah, I
But
can't really either. But I know that y'all were there.
oh yeah,
And that was summer after senior year of high school.
mm-hmm.
So and that in that day we had the conversation of, hey, we're both going to tech, and I didn't have a whole lot of friends going to tech, and I don't know. Ever since that night, we've been friends.
But do you remember how we introduced ourselves?
Oh no.
Do you remember that?
No.
So, yeah, this has been on my mind all day.
Okay, great.
And I don't know who established the conversation, but one of us walked up to each other and you said, "Hey, my name's Dan the Man Mabry," and I said, "Well, hey, my name's Austin Vidrine, and I'm kind of a big deal." And to this day, if you go in my phone, your name is still Dan the Man Mabry.
Yeah.
So I said it's been since that long, and I said that was the first time that we met, and it was like, I mean, I said. You didn't really. I said I was going to tech. You were going to tech, and we were just like, all right, we'll be friends.
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't have a lot of people in my friend group that were going to tech. So I was in the market, I guess you could say, and it fell right into my lap. And honestly, I mean, that set me up for everything that happened in college. The more that I think about it, and
sleeping on our couch.
Yeah. I mean that whole
day.
first year. I mean, you and I mean the whole friend group.
Yeah.
Really, the whole Monroe friend group really took me in and has to this day. And I'm definitely thankful for all those people. And shouts out to you guys. The people in the group,
Yeah, they know what we're talking about
for sure. But yeah, I remember we went to the Gary Allen concert together.
We did do that.
I remember this very vividly because I guess were y'all living at UC at that point?
So
because we were pre-gaming somewhere.
So no, we weren't living at UC yet, but we were pre-gaming at Jennifer Robinson's apartment because she lived there.
Mm-hmm. And then she drove us to the Sigma New House.
Yes.
In my vehicle.
Yes.
And upon arrival, I got a little sick because I hadn't had much to eat that day. And I said, Jennifer, we're going to drop everybody off, and I'm going to need you to drive me down to McDonald's, and I'm going to need a hamburger.
I remember
that. And so I ate a hamburger, came back to the Sigma New House, went to Rabs, saw Gary Allen. Great time.
Yeah. I walked home that night.
Yeah,
I did.
That was the start of college.
Yeah,
we kicked off college with a bang.
What a time to be alive.
No doubt.
What a time to be alive.
Oh gosh. So yeah, then we go through the whole school year, and I lived on your couch for a little while because I chose to go to summer school and not drive back and forth to West Monroe every day.
And it was a great summer.
Oh,
I mean, we had a phenomenal summer.
Yeah, summer of my college career, no doubt. Me and Hunter Hall and Patricia Cage. And like everybody lived in UC at that point, so everybody could just bounce around everybody's houses.
The UC pool was it was like an everyday thing.
Yeah, it's like a Nazi camp now. I mean, like you can't get in there without a wristband and a membership and paying your $25. But at that point in life, it was like call your mama and your kids and everybody.
Music playing. I mean, people throwing ice chests over the thing to like dude. Breaking the gate.
Yeah. It was. I forgot about the broken gate.
Yeah, the broken gate, man.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss that.
Broken gate.
That'll be a mystery for those who don't know. But yeah, I guess I brought you in here because you definitely supported me since day one, and honestly, you have a really interesting job. And it's something that I never thought you would get into.
I didn't either, really and truly.
I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know for a fact that you've worked your butt off to get there because I've seen your trials and tribulations upon the way. But I guess just tell us what you do, and we'll back up from there and get into our work history.
Yeah. So. I'm a medical sales rep. I work for Globus Medical. I sell spine implants, anything from the cages, the screws, the rods, everything that's involved. I've got an iPad that has over 190 products that are that are just the ones that I can really speak for. I mean, but the Globus is a big thing, is being the leader in expandable technology. I mean, we come out with over 90 implants and screws, or some kind of medical device every year. So we have some of the only expandable cages on the market. So it's really cool. I said the job kind of fell into my lap, and I tell people that. I've had people ask me, how'd I get this job? Who'd I talk to? And I said, honestly, I bumped into the right person at the right time. I was at a Neville football game, hadn't been to one in like 3 years, and I'm standing in the end zone, and this guy's like, hey, Austin, what's going on? I was like, hey, man, how's it going? And he was like, what are you doing these days? I was like, well, I'm actually cutting, pipelines and mowing, oil locations for a friend. I was like, it's, he was like, well, why are you doing that? I was like, well, I'm trying to get into medical sales. And he was like, give me a call on Monday. Well, called on Monday, and the rest is history. But like I said, it's fun. It's different. Something I never thought I was ever going to get into, really and truly. Every day can be casual, just hang out, go do a couple of surgeries, knock them out.
Let's pause right there, because I want to back up, and there's a lot that I don't know about what you do, so I want to still ask some more questions about that. But whenever we graduated college, which was about the same time, we had kind of drifted apart a little bit, but far by no means. And you had gone through some relationships, and I had taken my life in other directions, and obviously we were still in the fraternity together and all that stuff. So relationship was definitely still there. But then I went to work at JPS Equipment Rental. And then a couple months later, you went to work at JPS Equipment Rental.
I showed up working the yard.
Yeah.
We all remember. I mean, we all know how that happened.
For sure.
And like I said, cleaning equipment, washing equipment, moving it, loading it up on 18-wheelers. Fabulous day to wake up. I mean, 7 a.m. was awesome. I mean, it was just a great time. But
I'm a college graduate.
Yeah.
To go wash equipment.
I am thankful for that opportunity, because it was pretty terrible. It sucked, but at the same time, I did learn a lot about myself, and just the overall, what I wanted to do in life. It really kind of led me in that direction. Like I said, 'cause Dan was my boss for a split second.
Yeah, a small period of time.
He would yell at me over the microphone,
over the radio.
Yeah, over the radio, and I would have to go do whatever Dan told me to do. So imagine how that worked.
Yeah, Dan's not always nice in a work environment.
Yeah, I would come up to the front and ask Dan to please stop yelling at us, and so. But and then I got moved up to where I was the quote unquote parts runner.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you ask me what I did, I would tell you I drove around in a truck all day and picked up things.
You were an errand boy.
Yeah. It was awesome.
No doubt.
I got to drive like halfway across the state multiple times a day.
Austin would come in and he'd be like, did you hear what the score was of the basketball game last night? Did you hear how LeBron went off? And I'm like, no, bro. I mean, I know ESPN's over there, but I hadn't been watching it. He's like, I've been listening to the radio all day.
Dan was like, well, I actually work. I was like, yeah, well, I work too, but mine's just driving a truck.
Yeah.
A
single cab pickup truck.
Hey, whoa, that was a great single cab pickup. Barely had AC. And had no cruise on it either.
Yeah,
on them long road trips, dude, it was tough.
Yeah, I drove
first world props.
Far a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, it was no fun. And then I got moved to inside sales, and you got moved to El Dorado.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Like I said, and that was kind of where we really, like we parted ways work-wise.
Yeah.
But then it was really funny, because when something would come up, for some reason
I'd have to call you.
Yeah, they picked me to come run your store, and I was like, well, I don't want to go to El Dorado, but I loved it though, because there was no phone.
Oh yeah,
ringing.
that's right. I went on vacation one week. Yeah.
He called me to come run the store. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just here.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt most of the time while I was there, especially in El Dorado.
Yeah.
But so at that, I mean, I came back to West Monroe, and you were still there for a little while.
Yeah.
But then you decided that, and if anything, like you said it, if anything that I saw for you out of that whole experience is like you figured out what you were good at and what you weren't necessarily good at, and to some degree, and like basically what you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody has to do that.
And like I said, I loved construction sales. Like I said, it was fun and it was crazy. I mean, it was wild. I mean, you never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can attest to that. It was. I mean, there was times where Monday mornings it was like, this is insane. It's literally 7 a.m. and we've had 50 phone calls.
Like the variety of the job was the best and the worst thing about it.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I knew I wanted to, not, sell, but just talk to people, get to know people, establish relationships, just be a people person. I mean, I could talk to a brick wall and think I'm having a great conversation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what led me into sales, but I didn't really know where I was going to go with it. And then, I said, my fiance, now soon to be wife, her stepdad, and he's a surgeon, and a few of his buddies were, that are surgeons also, were like, Austin, you ever thought about medical sales? And I was like, dude, whoa, now slow. I'm some redneck dude. Not all the surgeons are as cool as y'all, and I did learn that really quick. There's a lot of unfun surgeons out there, but so I was like, you know what?
What'd you get your undergrad in?
General studies, even better. That's a whole nother story. That's like a whole nother podcast.
Okay, fair enough.
So how I ended up there from teaching and coaching to general studies. Yeah. So I said, why not? I'll give medical sales a try. So I moved to Lone Tree, Colorado, and did the
which is just south of Denver.
Yeah, and I did a medical sales program, and it was a month-long program, and it definitely, you could go longer. You can go for as long as you wanted to, but I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting into. Let's just get into a month and we'll see what happens. So I did a month in Denver, at the medical sales college, and I tell people all the time it was a good experience. I helped you move into your apartment on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Ian Arnott was with me.
Yeah, because Ian was going to school there
Ian
too.
Went, and so I did that, and I mean, I did learn a lot, and I tell people, said I cherished my time there, and they did teach me a lot, but definitely didn't know what I was getting into coming out of there.
And how long did you spend there?
1 month.
Well, just 1 month.
Yeah, just 1 month. Felt like an eternity though.
Yeah.
I mean, Lone Tree was cool and all, but class every day was not very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they said I moved back to Ruston and lived at the house I'd been living in there, and just applied for jobs every single day. Worked on that, cutting pipelines and mowing oil locations, and just, not even doing anything that I was close to be doing.
Right. Yeah.
And thanks to when I bumped into the guy, and it was game over from there.
That's obviously a wonderful turn of events there with the Neville story, but so like you were talking about, you do spinal cells and I guess spinal equipment sales.
You can call it that. Medical device.
Yeah, medical device.
It's the easiest thing to say.
Fair enough. So what I find unique about, like, I hear that genre of work, and I see people that do it, and they come by and buy the doctor lunch and that kind of deal. But like, it seems like I know it's true because you told me, like, you literally are in the operating room whenever the device is being used.
So the whole buying doctor's lunch thing is that's not true. We can't do that. Only when you're selling, you have to do that.
Fair enough.
On the record.
Okay.
But no, so yeah, I'm in there every time my implants are being put in and taken out. Like this past week, I had 2 surgeries where my things were being taken out, and it's not a fun thing to be in there because sometimes your screw may have broken, which is not the screw's fault. So sometimes it can happen, but it's not fun, especially depending on what surgeon you're with. And I'm fortunate enough to have a great surgeon. He's an awesome guy. Super.
And he really likes you, from what I've heard.
Yeah, he's tough on me. My first day in the hospital was January. I got hired on January 1st.
Okay. All right.
So New Year's Day, and I was in the hospital January 2nd. It was a Tuesday.
Wow.
And it was my first surgery with him. And of course I had my rep with me. But I didn't really know the whole interaction between not only the surgeon but the staff. I mean, like the scrub techs and the nurses and just the people that come into the room.
Yeah, everybody that's involved.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole team of people that are involved, and now we call it the A team, like I said. But when I started, I was definitely not on the A team. They didn't even know my name. They called me Casey because they said I looked like a Casey. And so, right. Yeah, to this day, she's one of my best friends. She's a scrub tech, and she's taught me a lot of things about just how surgery works and how doctors work in general. She's a phenomenal scrub tech, and she kind of took me under her wing, but she called me Casey because she said I looked like a Casey, and I was like, that's so weird, but it's fun. Like I said, every day can go really smooth sailing, then all of a sudden it could go. I mean, there's some horror stories. Like last week was a pretty horror story.
Can you share any of that stuff?
Yeah, I could share a little bit about it. Said patient had discitis, and it's basically a long-term disc is sick. The disc in your back it's the easiest way to put it.
Fair enough.
It's not good.
It's not a healthy disc.
Yeah, it's very bad. And unfortunately, the patient was very young, which is even worse. You never want to see a young person suffer like that, or an elderly person. But
sure.
Especially when they're young, it's tough to see that. And there are a lot of tough things that go on, but this one was tough. They were very sick, and he lost blood, like their blood pressure shot down really bad, and we had to call off the surgery and bring general guy in there, and it just general surgeon came in and had to do some more stuff, and I ended up just leaving the room because I was there my stuff was being implanted, so I was there just a normal day. We were having a conversation, everyone was laughing and joking and having fun, and the music's playing, and everyone just having a normal Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then it hit the fan, and I was standing kind of next to my surgeon. My surgeon's really nice, and he allows me to stand, not right next to him, but I could stand where I could see inside of the wound, and get to see it from not his perspective, but close to where I could see what's going on. It's really cool. So I was standing there with him, and he was talking to me, and because I asked him questions, and he explains things to me, just why we're going to do this, and what he's cutting through and stuff like that. It's interesting. And all of a sudden it got real quiet, and they started talking numbers and blood pressures, and I was like, I'm out. And I kind of snuck out the back of the door and waited 30 minutes and finally came back. But patient's doing much better now. He's doing good. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah. So.
So you are in the room to represent the device.
Yes.
And I mean, are you telling the surgeon how it works?
So
obviously y'all worked together for some time now. So
whenever you're doing your first surgery with a surgeon, you have to go sell to him, of course. So you have to sell him this product and let him know that this is what it does. It's how great it is. It could change, your whole practice, and it could help your patients out, and all these different things. And so you kind of give them a demo of how it works. And honestly, a screw's a screw. You're going to screw a screw in no matter what you do, no matter if you're doing it in a board or a patient. They all go in the same way. Let's go ahead and throw that out there.
All right, fair enough.
But when it comes to cages, like I said, ours are expandable, so they do have to go in at a different angle, or they have to be put in a certain way. And some of the inserters aren't the same as other companies. Just due to ours being expandable, you have to have different mechanisms that have to all twist at the same time to expand the implant up. Because there's expandable and there's static cages. Expandable is going to be your titanium cages, and static cages more of like a PEEK, which is like a polyurethane kind of material, and then they have titanium static cages.
So what can you compare a static to an expandable?
So this is a funny conversation that it's a hot topic for a lot of people.
Okay.
Like I said, if Austin Etier was here, we argue this a lot.
Okay. Because he is a spine surgeon.
So Etier's a PA, works for a great spine surgeon in Shreveport. Phenomenal neurosurgeon, actually. There's a difference in neuros and orthos.
Okay.
That's
Another hot topic.
Yeah, it's a big thing. You don't call neuro and ortho because you'll get yelled at and you'll get cussed at, and they'll talk about your mom and they'll talk about you, and it's not nice.
I feel like there's a lot of money in what you do, so there's probably a bit of politics involved as well.
There is a lot of money. Because some of these implants are pretty expensive. Like I said, my company's based out of Philadelphia. So I go to Philly more than I want to go to Philly, and I spend too much time there. But it's a beautiful city, but I hate it at the same time. So I've actually seen how our implants are put together, the actual expandable titanium cages. They're put together by hand, and the guy gave me one to try to put together, and I couldn't even figure it out. Like I was like, it was like this. It was like these tiny Legos in your hand. But they all had to slide and interconnect into each other. But once they went and clicked, there's no getting them out. So it blew my mind because they put together thousands a day.
Yeah.
And then they put them into a machine and they cut them to the exact sizes and then wash them and then they'll sterilize them and they'll put them in a bag and send them to us. It's a cool process. So yeah, there is a lot of money in it. I mean, there's a lot of politics, and there's all kinds of laws and rules that us reps and companies have to follow.
I was about to say, I knew that you had to learn a lot of all that stuff, and maybe struggled a little bit with it.
So I went. So Globus has 4 trainings. They have a 101, a 201, a 301, and a 401. And unfortunately, I added a 501, and I had to be the guinea pig for it.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So 101's anatomy. And pathology, so it was tough because again I don't have much anatomy and biologies and underneath my belt, it was a little rough. My area director called in every day and cussed me out and yelled at me, but he's a great guy and he really does love me, but he chewed me so bad.
Now, during that time, were you like reaching out to your friends?
Yeah, I'm reaching out. I called Austin Etier and I called Taylor Dawson. Yeah. And like I said, because Dawson's in PA school and Etier is a PA.
Right.
So I was like, what better to ask than 2 guys that have done all of this already?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I got through 101. I got through it. 201 was a whole new monster for me. So they give you like 2 months to study. They send you home with these imagine like a cardboard box full of books and study guides and brochures and surgical technique guides and all these things. And then you have an iPad that has all this on it too, so they're just wasting paper too. Okay. I mean, 'cause no one even looks at the paper. Let's be serious here. Yeah. You have an iPad.
Yeah.
So I go to Globus in Philly. The rule is if you don't make an 85 on your test, which is on a Monday, so you show up on Sunday, you have all day Sunday to study and learn as much as possible. And
get acclimated.
And then Monday morning at 8 o'clock, you have to be at Globus, and they sit you down in a classroom, and they give you a test. And by 8:30, you're either on the taxi heading to the airport, or you're into the room, into the class. And the first time I went, I failed it. I made a 84. Had to have an 85. Golly. And I know the girl's not. She'll never see this. So and she knows what I'm talking about. She no longer works for Globus, but there was people fighting for me to stay, and I'm still bitter about it because now they don't send people home. I was the last rep to ever get sent home. Oh
yeah. Man.
So yeah, it's it's funny now, but then Dude, I thought my life was over. I was like, man, my job, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to have to move back to, to Ruston and find another job. I was like, this is about to be miserable.
Yeah, because at some point shortly after that, I don't know if you told me or if somebody else told me, but somebody had told me that you had struggled with it and like had gotten sent home or something, and I was like, oh crap!
Yeah.
Like he just spent all this money to go to school for this and all this stuff. I was like, man, that's
the kicker
tough.
was I like I said, I failed the test. I had to go back into class and get my stuff. So everyone that I was already friends with from my first 101 class, they were all there.
Yeah.
And so they all knew I failed. And so they were all like coming to talk to me. I was like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to leave. Just give me. It's so awkward. And so I had to get back on the bus, ride back to the hotel, pack my stuff. Then they made me find my own ride to the hotel. But Globus scheduled my plane for me.
Yeah.
So I'm taking out in Philly. We're in Audubon, which is like 45 minutes from the airport.
Okay.
I had 45 minutes to get to my plane.
Oh, man.
Dude, I called some random guy at the front desk. I asked the front desk guy who I should call, and he said he has a friend that can get me there fast. So I called some random dude that got me there really fast.
That's awesome.
And and then I went back about a month later and made a 99. And when I handed that test in, and I knew it was a 99, I knew it was 100.
Yeah.
And I missed one. I was so pissed. And I looked at that lady and slapped it on her desk. And I wanted to say something so bad, but I bit my tongue and kept walking. But no. Then I went to 301 to 401, and then I had to go to 501. And it got better.
Yeah.
It got a lot better. We got to do some fun things.
Good.
I got to go out and actually experience Philly, so it was fun.
Good. Yeah, I never got to hear after you like went back and like I knew you passed, but I didn't get to hear all that. So that's good. I'm glad you got your revenge. I'm glad that maybe that lady didn't work there anymore. But so are you still like actively going and selling these things?
Yeah.
Or?
So my normal schedule is Mondays are normally my go out and see if I can get any sales calls lined up. We'll kind of go to different offices. Stop in. There's like a hierarchy of like, or not even, there's like a security team for like doctors. Like their front office people are like they're like Secret Service. And they don't let you through.
Yeah,
like you have to like sweet talk them.
Yeah, I follow you there.
Yeah, and so you have to like be real patient and be very very not aggressive, but you have to let them know like, look, like I'm here for like one thing. I just need 30 seconds.
Yeah.
With this surgeon, and I'll be out of his hair. Because some surgeons like to be approached at clinic, and some surgeons like to be approached at the hospital. There's a different way to sell for each of those situations. Hospital's a little bit hectic because most of them are coming from one surgery to another. So you never know, like if they just had a bad day. You never know what could happen.
So you're just like catching this person in the hall while they're walking?
Yeah, or as they're washing their hands out of a surgery or washing their hands going into a surgery.
Hey, how's it going?
Which is really weird because like you don't know like who they're using. Like they could be using like your competitor, and the competitor could be standing like right next to them. And I just walk up and say, "Hey, Dr. So my name's Austin. I'm with Globus Medical. You got a couple seconds, or like I'll lead with something else. Sometimes you just go ahead and talk about the stuff that they're using and
yeah."
I mean, some of them I'll hate it and some of them like it, but like so there's a lot of planning, and fortunately Globus has a lot of people that I could reach out to and kind of pick their brains on certain surgeons.
That's awesome.
But, so that's Mondays, and then Tuesdays is a surgery day. So I normally get to the hospital about 6:45 in the morning, and some days I'm out of there by 2. Some days I'm out of there by like 5, and then there are the few days where I've been there to like 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Just had multiple surgeries.
Yeah, and it's not even that like they were long surgeries. It's like Tuesdays we only have one room. Like my big surgeon only has one room on Tuesdays, so they have to do a surgery, get the patient out, clean the room, bring the next stuff in, open everything up, all the sterile stuff. Bring the patient in, do it all over again. And it is a long process.
Just a lot of resetting.
Yeah, and then on Wednesdays, I try to, everything from Monday, try to get set on Wednesdays. But that truly never happens. So you normally spend like half your Wednesdays doing more sales calls just to get a phone call like on Thursday morning saying, hey, he's got 2 minutes carved out for you Thursday at 10 o'clock. And you're like, I'll be there.
It's 9:45.
Yeah,
so
I'll be there. Yeah. So and then like I said, Thursdays are our surgery day, but we have 2 rooms on Thursdays. A lot smoother. And Fridays are surgery days also. So that's my normal week.
How many surgeons do you work with?
One major surgeon.
Yeah.
He's a big ortho surgeon. When I say big, he is 6'5", 200 and...
Oh, physically big.
Yeah, he was up to like 250 something, and he's on a diet, and we talk about all kinds of random stuff, and he's at 230 right now, and he says he doesn't eat, but he's doing the diet like intermediate fasting.
Yeah,
what he
intermittent
does.
fasting.
Yeah, that's what he does, and
I do that.
But he deadlifts like 600 pounds. He's a monster.
How old is this man? 30s, 40s?
No, he's in his 50s.
Okay.
He's in his 50s, mid 50s. Yeah, he doesn't look it though.
Sounds like a beast.
He is, and like I said, that's why he's an ortho guy, because they just cut open and start
hammering.
Yeah, and neuro guys work through like these little tubes and stuff. So it's really cool. But I do work with a guy that is like has the ortho mindset of kind of what he does in his approach to surgery, on like what kind of cages he's going to use and stuff like that. But then he's a neuro guy in the way he performs. It's an odd balance, but he is about 5'5", total polar opposite guy. Like my big guy is like, he's not aggressive.
He's in your face though.
Yeah, but he wants it like right, and he expects it to be right.
Yeah.
If it's not right, then you're in trouble.
He's gonna let you know about it.
Yeah, he lets you know every mistake you'll ever make, and you'll remember it too. Like I forgot a set one time that he never uses. I just always keep it outside the room, and this is one of my first cases. I was by myself with him, and I forgot a set downstairs. It was sterile, so it was ready to roll, but we normally keep it outside the room, but he never uses it.
Yeah.
It was one day he asked for something, and it was in that set. So he had to wait like 30 seconds for me to get it.
Yeah.
Dude, that 30 seconds was the worst of my life. He was so mad. And to this day, I've never forgot it again. It's always sitting outside the room.
Yeah.
But then my other surgeon I work with was very calm, keeps his head down, and just kind of, he just kind of goes along with his day. And he may not say a word, but he loves Texas country, which is really fun because because he wears cowboy boots to operate in.
All right.
So it's really, it's different.
That's cool.
But so then I work with some more that are just so every now and then, they'll call and need something. It just depends. Like I said, you never really know.
So a lot of these surgeries, are they hands-on or are they using robots or? So
robots are a big new thing. Really cool. We have one. So Globus has a robot, but we don't have one where I am in Little Rock. We're currently working on one, but everything I'm doing is very hands-on. Like we don't use any navigation, which is almost like a robot, except it's like a 3D image that projects, and it takes like a 3D shot of the patient's spine. And you could actually like navigate and watch the screw go into position, and it's scanning
while it's happening.
So it's taking like a live CT scan or live MRIs. It's really cool. And so, but none of the surgeons I work with use that.
That's called navigation.
Yes, that's nav. And then there's like actual robot, which is a platform connected either to the bed or stationary to the ground or something like that, and it has like its own arm, and the surgeon doesn't even have to be scrubbed in if they don't want to. We could leave the screen draped or undraped, whatever they want, and they press a couple of buttons. It's like the 0.5 millimeters. I mean, you can go even smaller. It's remarkable.
Wow.
And they could drop a screw, and a couple other things that are in the works for next quarter. So once that comes out, we'll be able to talk about that.
Fair enough.
But there are some things that are coming out that are revolutionary and they're really cool. I got to see them firsthand when I was up there.
You're talking about products that Globus
the robot.
Okay.
What it's about to be able to do that. It's going to be able to do a lot more than just put screws in here in a little bit, and it's pretty cool stuff. We just announced some of it at a show last weekend, and I was really sad I wasn't able to go because I would love to see the faces on some of these doctors like, what?
Yeah.
But that's the kind of difference between robots and nav, and they are really cool. I mean, let's be serious here, they are really cool. But there are some old school surgeons that if you like mention robots or stuff like that, they're like, why do I need that? I'm 60-something years old. I've been putting screws in for 30 years now.
Yeah.
I'm not bad at putting screws in. And you're like, no, you're not bad. You're not bad. No, never said that. I just saying this could help.
I can make you better.
Yeah, I can make it easier. Less stress.
Okay.
Yeah, not better.
All right.
Because they're great.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you're great at what you do.
Yeah, you're already great, man. I'm just trying to make it easier for you, less stress.
Life easier.
Yeah, less stress.
That's probably a better pitch.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, you said it's fun.
Imagine you do run into some big egos. Those old dudes that have just been keep on trucking. For
so yeah, there's like some monster egos. There's one guy, just man, he's tough. He works with another company, so I hardly ever get to work with him. He'll call like maybe once every like 2 weeks and just want something.
Yeah.
So I get to go into his room, and he's very like he's mean. Like he'll make you seem like a complete idiot, and I'm like, I'm not an idiot, okay, man. Like I know this stuff, and but he makes you feel like one, but he means well.
Are these people? And obviously this is like a really general statement, but are these people directing that same energy to like the other people that are working with them, or is it just
it's just more of me?
Yeah, they just kind of pick on you.
Yeah.
Because it's your device that they're using.
This guy picks on me, and he picks
and
on
so anything
my
that
boss.
happens with that is a direct reflection of you.
Oh yeah, like if we ever had a problem, honestly, I've been with Globus for a year and 3 months now, and we hadn't had anything go wrong with him, and knock on wood.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's hope nothing does go wrong, because like I said, he's like the one surgeon I'm really scared of. He's pretty aggressive, and he's big too. I don't know why they pick these huge surgeons to work at the hospital I'm at, but like for some reason,
it's them Arkansas hills, I guess.
Dude, I guess, man.
Oh, so I know you're an avid duck hunter, and from what I can tell, this season was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Do you have any inclination as to why that happened?
So, there's lots of different things. I've hunted in Louisiana my entire life. Hunted in North Louisiana, and we've had great seasons, we've had bad seasons. And this was my first real season to hunt in Arkansas, the full 60 days, and it was tough. And I really and truly, there's no right answer for it. A lot of people argue about it, why it was so bad, but I mean there was record rainfall. I mean, just you could drive from here to back to Little Rock, and you're going to see more water than you've ever seen. So there was a lot of new areas that weren't flooded, in the past couple of years that has food, and they may or not be huntable areas. And then the rivers are at record stages.
Yeah,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
insane right now.
I drove through Memphis a couple of weeks back on my way to Nashville, and I mean, it was 60 degrees outside. There's still ducks in the fields because there's still water and there's still food in all these fields that don't ever have water. Cornfields and stuff like that doesn't ever have water. And then you'll talk to the people in like South Louisiana that are like, they have this whole group that they call themselves the Flyway Federation, and they have this whole mindset called hot cropping. and it makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, like hot cropping, but like Mother Nature's the real deal. Like, let's be serious here.
We explain hot cropping.
So hot cropping is basically people in the northern states, and like they
making
are
these duck sanctuaries.
yes,
Yeah, I've
and
heard
so
about
they're
this.
flooding their cornfields and not cutting them, or their rice fields and not cutting them, and they're basically, because in Louisiana you can't hunt that they have like fancy terms for it, but basically you can't hunt a field you haven't cut, or you can't hunt a field that like you flooded on purpose and didn't cut. But like if something like was to happen where like you lost your crops, something like that, and you had some record rain, you would have to call like an agent out there and get them to come
approve it,
it. But in the northern states, there's some odd law where they can basically do that and get away with it. And so there's videos out there, and there's lots of hunting videos, just that I watch throughout the whole season.
Oh yeah.
And these people are hunting in like standing cornfields, and then when when the ducks eat the first layer of corn on the cob, they just raise the water up a little, or they'll lower it down. And then they also have it to where the water doesn't freeze. They're constantly pumping water through it.
Okay.
Or they have these things called risers, and that's a whole nother thing. But basically, the water doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
So no matter how cold it gets, and really and truly, it never got that cold this season, which is another big.
For sure.
Yeah,
we had a relatively warm winter.
And that's another big thing.
Or relatively warm duck season, I should say.
Yeah.
It got cold after that.
February 1, it was like freezing cold.
Yeah.
And duck season ended January 30th or whatever it was. Like I said, it was weird.
Yeah.
But the whole like water and not being very cold, that's the main thing, because the ducks aren't going to migrate. If they don't have to leave, the hot cropping site, if there's food, and the water's open, it's really not that cold, there's no point in leaving.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave. There's a free buffet and it was nice and warm in the water.
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave either.
Fine lady beside me.
Dude, they're already
camper.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a good season. I got into a lease that had pits and rice and corn and beans and all that fun stuff, and I think I hunted them like twice all season. It was that bad. I hunted public timber every single time I went.
You didn't even hunt the lease?
Didn't even hunt my own lease.
Oh, man.
I hunted public timber every single day, and we had a great time. I actually made some friends that were hunting up there, and which never happens in public woods in Arkansas. Everyone hates each other.
Yeah, that's all I've ever heard about.
Yeah, they fight.
Everything in West Monroe and all that stuff.
Dude, they fight. They yell at each other. They'll ride your boat, like they'll ride their boat right up on you. And that did happen, and it does. But the guys I hunted with this year I surrounded myself with some big dudes.
Yeah.
One guy played the quarterback for Alabama.
Okay.
He was there before Saban, and then two of the guys played one played tight end and one played tackle. They were twins for Bama.
So you did surround yourself.
Yeah, and they both one played for the Dolphins and one played for somebody else in the pros. But yeah, they were huge.
Yeah.
And so no one messed with us.
Yeah.
And it was perfectly fine, because people would roll up on us and try to fight. Like, honestly, like they would come to fight over a spot. It's like, dude, just come hunt with us, man. Like, more guns, more ducks.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was wild, but we had a good season. It was fun. Like I said, I'm on a pro staff with Ducks Back now. Like I said, I got that about halfway during this season.
What is that? What is Ducks Back?
It's a duck hunting company. Actually, they're based out of Shreveport.
Okay.
But it's one of the oldest companies, 1904.
Wow.
And and they kind of went away for 40 years. And these guys picked it back up and started the brand up. And I reached out to them and told them, I was interested. I wanted to be, on pro staff and ambassador, well, whatever you want to call it. I don't make any money off of them. And I said I just wear their stuff and promote them and talk about them. And
yeah,
and they do make phenomenal stuff. It's more of like the old school camo. There's none of that. There's no like mossy oak, real tree, and all that stuff. It's old school camo. It's waxed. It's the old school duck blind camo, and it's cool. And I actually switched my whole thing to it this past season, and I was comfortable.
Yeah, I know you were a big fan of another brand.
Yeah,
we
I
won't
was a
mention.
Sitka guy. I was a Sitka guy. No, I'm not ashamed of it. I was
Fair
a
enough.
Sitka guy. They make phenomenal clothing.
Yeah. While we were working at JPS, this dude would just like scroll on the internet.
Man.
Clothing.
Dude, they have great stuff. They really did.
I can't. I mean, I can't lie.
Didn't you wear Kuiu
Kuiu,
stuff?
yeah, I was about to say
exactly.
that. I was looking.
That guy
at Kuiu.
stole all of Sitka's. Hey, come on, man.
Hey, he died.
He did. R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
He was badass.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen like his stuff on YouTube, like his hunting and all that?
Oh yeah,
it was impressive
he,
stuff.
Like what's in? I mean, he killed himself. I believe he did commit suicide.
He did.
But like to see his training regiment to go hunt elk, to go archery.
So that's
hunt
like the
elk.
new big thing now is these.
Shout out Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly. So these Western hunters, you have to be pretty physically in shape to go Western hunting anyway.
No doubt.
But some of them now are like filming their workworkouts. Like there's one guy that I follow on Instagram. Shout out Cameron Haynes.
For sure.
I watch stuff all the time.
Yeah, Cam Haynes is cool.
But like I said, he is just a complete monster. And what's funny is, so Sarah and I
Adam
work out.
Greentree.
Dude. So Sarah and I work out every day, every morning at 4:30 a.m.
Okay.
Because that's because I got to be at the hospital at 6:45. So that's the only. And then she works for corporate Dillard's, so she has to be there, at 7.
Yeah.
So 4:30 is just the best for both worlds.
Yeah.
Which is really getting her out of bed's miserable. And but I was like, hey, we should try this dude's workout. And I showed her Cameron Haynes' workout. And she was like, wait, I guess.
Yeah.
Dude, my arms weren't the same for like a week, dude. It was miserable.
That's
I mean,
wild.
it was intense. But now I do it like every week, and he really does do it right.
Yeah.
But I said that Western hunting is something cool. It's something I eventually would like to get into, but it's really expensive, and duck hunting's already very expensive. So
no doubt. Yeah, Adam Greentree is another one of those guys. He's an Australian. If you don't know who he is, go ahead and look him up. Guaranteed to be entertaining, regardless of whether you like hunting or not. If you have any appreciation of the outdoors, you will love this guy. Yeah. And he films a lot of stuff. He got famous because Joe Rogan. He was friends with Joe Rogan, and he went to Montana and was hunting completely alone, with nothing but a backpack on his back, and he was putting everything that he was doing on his Instagram story. And he had an encounter with a grizzly bear and only had a 40 caliber pistol or something, and it wasn't even cocked, or like he tells the story on Joe Rogan's podcast, but good guy to check out. So obviously we've talked about Sarah a couple different times now. This podcast is going to come out next week, but this weekend you are getting married.
So yes, I am.
Yeah. Where you guys going on your honeymoon?
So we're getting married Saturday, Saturday the 30th.
Yes.
And then we leave Sunday morning, and we're going to Paris.
Okay.
So we're going to Paris for 4 days, and then Rome for 3.
Okay.
But the worst part about it is I have to drive to Little Rock after Sunday after the wedding. So it's going to be an interesting ride back.
Yeah.
At like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Because our plane leaves at noon from Little Rock.
On Sunday. Yeah.
So we got to leave here at 5.
So buy some Pedialyte.
Yeah. It's going to be rough. So if anyone wants to donate, some Pedialyte, it'd be really, really awesome.
Oh, man. That's crazy. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. But it's going to be worth it. Like I said.
Yeah. Watch out for the yellow vests.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hadn't heard about the yellow vest in Paris,
what are those?
France? So currently, a lot of people are angry with the French government, and
they're always mad.
Yeah, and they
get mad over milk prices.
They have they're protesting, and they have the yellow vest protesters. So these guys walk around in reflective vests and destroy stuff.
Oh man! Well, hopefully. So it's a good thing this is coming out next week, and Sarah can't hear that.
Yeah,
she would
for sure.
Freak out.
No doubt.
She would have a panic attack.
Y'all already be in Rome at this point.
She was watching some show the other night. I was of course watching The Office or something. Super educational.
Yeah.
and, in the other room, and all of a sudden she starts screaming and hollering to come here, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was watching some fake, sci-fi show about something in Paris, where and like she was like, is this real? I was like, no, it's not real. I was like, you're watching Jack Ryan on Amazon. I was like, you're watching Jack Ryan. I was like, that's the dude from The Office. I was like, that's right in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she had a panic attack about that. So she would really have a panic attack about the yellow vest people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, good thing is y'all be out of there at this point.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, I thought that maybe at one point in time, your previous relationship, we would have ended up married. Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. But
there's a lot of people cheering.
Yeah. I love Sarah, and I've known Sarah for a while. Obviously, she went to West Monroe, and in the words of Kelsey Olson one time, us West Monroe people got to stick together. So
I had to go to the other side of the river to find one. That's kind of
yeah. But I'm very excited for the wedding and the festivities and whatnot. So
it's gonna be a blast.
I know you guys are too.
So what's funny was, I proposed to her kind of before duck season, and so what's funny is I use like time as like when the season started. Just total Vidrine move right there. But she spent weeks going back. Like she would drive every like day after work to Monroe. All during duck season, because I would drive straight from work on Thursday or Friday whenever I had the chance and go straight to the camp and go hunt all weekend. And she would drive from work straight to Monroe and would start wedding planning. And so I didn't help at all in wedding planning. And then once hunting season ended, she was like, well, you get to start helping. I was like, no, I don't. And
listen, you were doing a great job. There's no reason for me to get in the way. Okay,
I'll just mess it up. So
it's another one of those pitch things.
I'll just mess it up.
Yeah,
but no, she literally did it like every weekend. And I guess it was 2 weeks ago. I mean, we've been to Monroe every weekend since. So I've been to Monroe every weekend since duck season ended -2. Duck season ended January.
Yeah.
I've been to Monroe every weekend. She's been to Monroe every weekend since duck season began, and even before that.
Okay.
So it's a lot of driving.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I guess it was like 2 weeks ago, we were driving home from Monroe, and I was like, I am so sick and tired of driving. I was like, I'm just so ready for the wedding to be, and I mean like the nicest way possible. I was not ready for the wedding to be over with.
Right.
I was just ready to get back to normal.
Yeah.
She was like, you haven't done anything for the wedding. Yeah. I was like, whoa, whoa. I was like, I'm here for moral support.
I've put in some time and some effort, all right?
I've driven you while you slept.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. But it's going to be good. Like I said, she's excited, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a fun time. Been a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I bet you are excited to settle down a little bit and spend a weekend at home.
Yeah. I mean, there's horse races in Hot Springs, and I don't ever get to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to gamble.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I hear that does. I mean, I've been to one. It is a good time. I've never been like with my friends, so I think that would be a different experience.
It's a lot of fun. So the one in Hot Springs isn't like a full casino yet. Unfortunately, Arkansas is not like Louisiana where they could just put a casino anywhere on a body of water.
Dude, I drive that work truck all the time now, and it just has a regular radio, and like my aux cord sucks, so I don't really play music anymore. So I listen to Rock 106 all the time, and in the afternoon they have Chad and Worm, two just they're funny guys, honestly. But they were talking about. Somehow they got to talking about the economy and how a couple of years ago somebody pitched a casino in Monroe.
So it's been pitched 1990. It was like 97. It got pitched, and it was going to be in West Monroe. And, of course, that didn't happen. I mean,
no.
West Monroe would never let
That's
that
what they were talking about.
Yeah.
They were like, the last time this happened, the people over there across the river at Six Flags Over Jesus
Yeah.
shot it down. And I
Yes.
was just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
So so my dad tells that same story, and that's pretty much what happened. I mean, people that live in Monroe, West Monroe, they know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it got pitched again it's been about 6 months now.
Okay.
It got pitched again, and it was going to go, if you're going over the I-20 bridge over the river, look to your right, and there's like an old brick building that's next to the boat stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the old toy store.
Yeah, it's no, not the Coca-Cola factory.
Okay.
And the candy store. It's an old washed up here school board office, I believe.
Okay.
It's like right next to the courthouse.
I got you.
And they talked about putting it there, and which honestly, kind of a good spot for it because in that
It's like
that Domo area.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about too.
Dude, have you been to one of those?
I haven't.
I recommend it.
Okay.
Sarah and I went to Rita's on the River last year. Downtown Monroe's got it going on right now.
So
man.
the first time that I went to downtown Monroe and socially here recently, I've been to Flying Tiger a couple times,
Okay.
but I went and saw my people at H2Go. I don't know if you're familiar with H2Go.
Is that the new paddle?
Yeah,
shop?
yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. My boy Killian works over there, and Mark, the owner's a really cool dude. And I hear that Two Dudes Brew and Q across the street is
So
pretty
it's
bomb.
phenomenal.
Haven't had the opportunity yet.
I highly recommend going.
Yeah.
So the Kevo is one of the guys that owns it.
Yeah, he used to do a podcast. from
So
what I
he works
understand.
with Aaron Dietrich, which is one of my dad's best friends.
Shout out Aaron Dietrich.
Yeah,
For the real ones.
yeah, Dietrich's my boy. But so Dietrich, I was with Dad and Dietrich somewhere, and Kevo was cooking for it was before the restaurant was open. He was catering, and I had to buy the brisket. I was like, oh my god, this is phenomenal. And we
Yeah.
opened the restaurant. I was so sad because I'm never here. I was like, man, we've been missing out.
Yeah.
Town of Monroe's been missing out on that food because it's phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure.
He does a great job. Highly recommend going.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's in a cool area.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a cool area.
And yeah, I don't know, man. Things are expanding here in Ruston too. We just got a Hobby Lobby.
Man,
Watch out.
dude. So when I drove through Ruston, I was like, man, what is this place? I was like, wow, a Hobby Lobby?
Yeah.
I mean, people in Ruston Rants have got to be going crazy right now because they don't have anything else to mess with. I mean, they can't complain about anything
All
else
right,
now.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Ruston Rants.
It happened again to me this week.
Did you get on Ruston Rants?
I didn't know. I've never commented on Ruston Rants. Definitely, maybe written some stuff out and deleted it. But
Don't.
yeah, I've
Dan,
never
don't stoop to that
fully
level.
committed. You know, I used to do that a lot, like early college and
You
late
would.
high school. I
Yeah.
was always just talking crap.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to back off of that. And if I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna be on camera, do it in face. But this lady was basically trashing and heckling a local car salesman for posting pictures of vehicles that he was selling, and they were parked in handicapped parking spots.
I saw that.
Right in front of the dealership. And I don't know, man. It's still something that's like I'm wishy-washy on it because people are like, you should never park in a handicapped spot if you're not handicapped. And I'm like, I will totally agree with that. But if I'm selling a car, I'm trying to get my dealership in the picture
it's
too.
at a dealership. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
said,
like the cars, like most of them are like fully sideways.
Yeah.
There's one of them that's actually parked in the parking spot, and the salesman goes like, "This was a handicapped man. He parked the vehicle there and wanted to trade it in, so we took some pictures of it."
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
You're making a sale, and it's in the parking lot of a dealership.
For sure.
Yeah, I said I tend to get on there and read every now and then, and it's like, man, these people are just. I think they just enjoy complaining. It's like, why are you so negative?
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, like there's no reason to be negative like that. There was one the other day. I had it in my head and I started laughing about the handicap and went completely mind blank on it. And it was a good one. Like I said, people were mad about going through the drive-through at Sonic. Did you read that one?
Dude, I feel like that happens all the time.
Dude, people were literally mad because someone was going through the drive-through to get a big order of food instead of going to the stall. And I was like,
I did see that.
what's the difference, dude?
Yeah.
Like, there's no difference. And
Yeah.
like I said, he was getting so upset. And I'm like, I just scrolled through and Sarah's like, what are you doing? I was like, reading these idiot comments.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I'm glad someone else enjoys good old Rustin Rants.
For sure. All right, dude. Well, we're at an hour, and I think my camera's going to die soon. So we're going to wrap this up. I got to say, I'm super proud of you and where you've ended up in life and where you and Sarah are going. And very happy to call you one of my very good friends.
Thanks, Dan.
And I have to say thank you a lot for getting me in the door of life and college and whatnot. And I really appreciate you being my friend when you never had to be.
Dude,
So.
Dan, man, I'm so proud of you. I remember texting you like when you first kind of announced it, and I was so excited for you. I was like, this is something Dan's gonna just completely kick ass at.
Sure, well, I appreciate
you're
that.
doing great. I said I think I've missed one episode.
Yeah.
So far, and I felt really bad because I was like, man, I can't tell Dan that.
I never know who watches and
Yeah,
who doesn't.
so I
just
felt
see the view counter
Yeah.
go up.
And I don't know how to work YouTube, Alex. I don't know how to subscribe.
Yeah,
So I
well,
feel bad every time you say subscribe.
You got a Gmail account?
I do.
Well, you got a YouTube account then.
Bingo.
So there's a little tip for everybody else. Still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'll probably put that in the intro anyway. So, but yeah, today's Thursday. We're gonna go have fun on Saturday night at Austin's wedding,
Sure.
and Austin, we'll see you again, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, brother.
Pleasure,
Thank you.
Dan. Thank you.